There we go. Okay. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Alliance and Virtus Pro. This is a best-of-3 series in the winners bracket. Whoever proceeds on through from here, whoever wins this match, will at least be taking away, 3,000 for second place? Obviously, I can just throw this on up here. And yeah, 3,000, second place. They automatically get second place because they're going to be in the grand finals, essentially is that. The other one has to kind of fight it out for a little bit, and we'll see. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Both of them taking in the first round 2-0 against their other team. So very, very dominating force, and also very interesting drafting styles between both teams. I'm really excited to see how it pans out, but they're already on into it. So proceeding on through here, I once again am Blaze here with Vikramond. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Blaze. I'm really, really pumped for this game. Of course, last series wasn't quite as good as we wanted. We had those electricity issues that sort of derailed that. But I don't expect that's going to make any impact here, and this is an exciting game. Alliance, obviously, they've been on an incredible hot streak. They've been beating just about everybody, especially when they're hot. They've won a bunch of competitions. They're in top form, really, and excellent teamfight coordination. VP, a little bit more of the dark horse in this match, of course. They're a very consistent team as well. Adding Arsart sort of only increased the possible ceiling of performance. And let's note, yesterday in an interview, we were promised some secret aggressive strategies being brought to bear by VP against Alliance. And I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, this
and
is
a lifetime record. Like, these two teams have played a lot. I think Alliance have won 11 times and VP has won 10 times or something. It's been a bunch of matchups, yeah.
Would you say that's been more recent with the Arzart being in Virtus Pro, or was it more often previously when they were no-tide? And
it was actually pretty even in the no-tide era and pretty even since then. They've actually faced each other less recently. The last time they were up against each other a lot was in Star Ladder.
Sure.
Which, of course, Alliance ended up winning.
Yeah, exactly. So they came out on top there, and they obviously showed they have a very, very innovative style when it comes to their own draft. They take a couple of key bans, they take out NS's potential for IO and the Bat Rider as well, and then just draft for their own style here. They have Keeper the Light and a Lifestealer to lane together, but also does Clockwork, which could just find himself about anywhere. We have seen plenty of tri-lane Clockworks in the past, but just as many in the off lane, or even a solo mid lane. So that'll be pretty interesting how they decide to proceed with that there specifically. But on top of that, we also have things like the global presence from Virtus Pro's Nature's Prophet, the hard lockdown on the Bane over the Nyx. I mean, this is going to be a position where Virtus Pro have the potential to actually bring the fight to Lifestealer and focus him as a primary target rather than some secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bane's sort of immediately running in there. We'll have to see this interplay between Admiral Bulldog's Clockwork and what's likely to be, I don't know if this is more likely to be NS or Arsart on this Bane. It's usually NS, but we've seen Arsart on it as well. The question for VP is, they've taken this Gyrocopter again, and is it the we bait out saying Illidan's going to be on Gyrocopter, but really it's just the support high damage? Or do you think it's going to be Illidan Airman actually on this Gyrocopter after all?
Well, for a supportive Gyrocopter, if you need setup, you need to make sure that homing missile is actually going to be able to make an impact, and Bane is certainly the hero to accomplish that. With such long disable from the Nightmare, I could honestly see it working out where they could have the Gyrocopter play fully support, and although they're not going to be roaming and putting as much pressure on the mid, they're still going to be able to establish a very great amount of presence, and the great thing about Gyrocopter is after that laning phase, he's still dishing out quite a bit of damage.
Yes.
Once he hits around level 12, level 13, he's got that flag cannon moving on up, and from there he will be able to make a very large impact on the game itself. That's going to be really, really a big deal, but of course we also know that Illidan loves the gyro, and if he gets that opportunity, then he's definitely going to pick it up as well. So the great thing about Virtus Pro is you can't just ban carries, you can't just ban supports, you have to worry about a bunch of different strategies at once, and that's why I like them picking up this potentially supportive Gyrocopter so early on.
Yeah, this addition, I mean, Airman made his name playing Gyrocopter. For a while, Virtus Pro were always running that Airman Gyro, and then he sort of expanded his hero pool. It really started being a threat with a lot of different stuff. And this additional fill-up of now we don't know if NS is going to be on the Gyro makes them very dangerous in the laning phase because you can't predict what's going to happen. Just on the point of secret strats, though, so far this is a very standard VP lineup. The Gyro, the Bane, and the Nature's Prophet. VP, one of the absolute highest Nature's Prophet picking teams. They were first picking Nature's Prophet when nobody else was even bothering to pick him at all.
Ooh.
So they preempted the metagame that way. They were early on the clockwork, and so the Night Stalker, however, is a little bit different. This is going to be Tame My Wild up in the middle, and I just want to talk again, we talked in the last game, but people may not have been there. This is what VP promised us. They said, we think of Alliance as essentially a 4 Protect 1 team when you boil it down. And so we are going to play aggressively into... Oh! Secret strats.
Well then.
Yes.
Wow.
Zeus.
That is...
But where the heck do they lane him?
That is the question. Obviously, Tame My Wild would prefer to run the Night Stalker on the mid lane. You know, carry Zeus. You just try support Gyrocopter, support Bane, carries it. Now, I honestly... That is a difficult question in this situation. I don't see enough viability of that. You're up against a Lifestealer. What the hell is a Zeus gonna do with farm priority?
How about some Aghanim's Gyrocopter Blaze?
What? No. I mean, that is global. That is, they do have Wrath of Nature. Aghanims on the Gyrocopter would bring down, call down wherever they want it, and then the Wrath of Nature on top of that, giving the vision to set up Prophet. I don't think they will, but, you know, maybe in the mid to late game they could consider it as an option.
So Zeus Nature's Prophet, this is the, like, Merlini MYM global, that thing. I mean, hang on to that point about the vision, Blaze.
Yeah.
Because Night Stalker wants vision to know who to go on.
Yeah.
And he's going to be roaming around trying to generate kills. Zeus Ultimate, Thunder God's Wrath, generates vision, and Nature's Prophet, Wrath of Nature, follows it up.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of damage wherever they want. I'm starting to think that, I don't think you're crazy, it might be farming Zeus and the Gyro Bane roam.
I mean, yeah, you can get, like, Ghost Scepters and stuff up on Zeus, but I think it's nuts to really reasonably expect a Zeus to perform well with a large amount of items up against a Lifestealer. He's still a Lifestealer. Heck, he can go BKB and just be like, I can't be touched for 20 seconds. Like,
dude, I don't know, but the Chen ban, the first Chen, they could have banned Lifestealer, but they chose to ban Chen. Ake, of course, is amazing on Chen. It's one of his best heroes, but... that's an interesting choice to me, just the fact of banning the Chen so you don't have
they're farming
heal.
Aggressive tri-lane, I think. KSI,
Ooh,
safe lane, Illidan,
okay.
Night Stalker,
Night Stalker.
tri-lane. Yeah. So they're going to farm Night Stalker, put pressure out on that top lane early, is my opinion. I mean, they could run safe lane, but I don't see the point in it. You have a Night Stalker, you want to get some kills generated, and of course you have that Void on a spammable cooldown. I really think that if Virtus Pro wanted to, NS, Gyro, of course Arzart on the Bane, and now Illidan on the Night Stalker, they could easily take it to the top lane and go head-to-head with them. Meanwhile, KSI just goes 1v1 against the Clockwork, and that wouldn't be too much problem at all.
Yeah. I like this. I like the farming Night Stalker. We actually seen teams make it work. It's something you can do. And this is very aggressive. I mean, they didn't lie. They weren't deceiving us. They were going to play aggressive Dota, try to take Alliance out of their comfort zone, and rip them up. I want to talk quickly about the S4 Templar Assassin. This is always the danger, is that S4, and we could start calling him the best mid in Europe, because right now he is playing like the best mid. The thing with S4 is that his hero pool is extremely wide.
Yeah.
So banning against it is a bad idea. In the round 1 of the playoffs, we actually saw Fnatic ban out, like they non-stop banned S4 heroes, and then he was just like, I'll just play TA, and dominated. So you can't really ban against S4, and they were smart to not do it. VP didn't focus that many bans on that. Instead, they went for a more thoroughgoing draft against Alliance. So S4 on the TA does make the Globo Dota strat a little harder, because if she has Refraction up at the time that you spam out that Thunder God's Wrath of Nature, no damage done to Templar Assassin, possibly no damage done to Lifestealer. So smart pickup of the TA. He actually had other strong options, but he went with that, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways they can make sure that they're alive. Either the Refraction to nullify the damage, or the Meld, being invisible, reveals you, but it does not cause you to take any of that damage. So either way, they will be able to avoid it on out, but of course the Refraction lasting longer is going to be a better option. One thing to comment on is that the passive Zeus static field will deal 2 instances of damage every single time he casts against TA. That will take out a couple of refraction charges each time, but not that big of a deal at this stage in the game. Like honestly, it's going to be more of a factor later on when they see the teamfights break out as a whole. Either way, S4 in the mid lane versus TMW. TMW is going to have to get, I mean, he'll get some farm from Arc Lightning, but he's going to have a trouble staying on the lane. With only 1 armor, S4, his side blades, his meld strikes, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, I do think that TMW has a disadvantage in the mid lane by default, but VP want to change that. They already have 2 people smoked up, and they're going to bring Smile, they're going to wait for the right moment, and Arsard and NS are going to come down. Actually, the smoke expires, but they're going in.
Yeah, going in.
S4
Nightmare
really
won't come
smart.
out. It does come out. They have the barrage. Do they want to take the tower? They do, but the creeps are here. NS's barrage will do very little. The refraction already nullified, though. The damage coming out. NS. Oh! The Templar Assassin falls first, and the Gyrocopter immediately after the fact. Immediate TP from S4. He did fall first. He didn't get the experience, and he's still sitting on level 1.
Dude,
oh, wow.
Arsard, he juked the Illuminate. He's going to make it out, I think.
Wow, that is big. Wow, he was just completely caught in a position where he would have been completely screwed. Ake charging up an Illuminate from the high ground. Even the telekinesis came on through, but no, he lives.
Oh, man, the TK. Oh, Arsard could have so easily died. Ake had the Illuminate set up, and he just jukes north. I mean... That's why he was such a good player. I mean, one of the premier players on Na'Vi, and now, so far, so good for VP. 1-for-1 trade, but they got the first blood.
Yeah.
S4 was dead, so he didn't get the XP. And now they have to just make sure that they reinforce Illidan at the bottom.
Yeah, it's very close calls. I mean, it would have been, could have gone any which way, but in that situation, Templar Assassin is going to be losing some ground. It's going to be harder and harder. She does get a bottle out of it, so she's okay in that position, but still, Zeus is going to be able to make up for lost time pretty quickly with one of his own. And yeah, in a short little while, it's going to be easier and easier for TMW to just keep on spamming away to the point that S4 can't hold the line. A Magic Stick and a Cloak, in my opinion, would do a lot of work.
Bulldog.
Big action down there with the telekinesis, but we're actually going to see KSI jumping on in to bring down Admiral Bulldog. There are going to be some cogs popped off, but he's in such a bad spot right here. He is 4 versus 1, trying to delay as long as possible, but in the end he does fall, and yet another kill. Set up for Virtus Pro, taking it 2-1.
They weren't kidding. They are going straight for the throat. I actually thought EGM saved it there. And this EGM, what a great support. That telekinesis was actually close to perfect. Putting NS all the way to the west so that Rocket Barrage couldn't possibly hit Bulldog. I thought Bulldog was saved, but KSI, with the Nature's Prophet, with that global presence, coming in for the extra damage, that was critical to secure the kill on Bulldog. We didn't talk about this Clockwork-based tri-lane, but if they're able to sort of discomfit the Clockwork and he can't get the cogs, it becomes difficult. And so far, they're doing okay. The flip side is 8 last hits for Illidan, 20 for Loda in this uncontested top lane.
Yeah. He's just farming away. With the fact that KSI transitioned down towards that bot, suddenly he just gets 100% the lane all to himself, and he could easily go for that full Midas. I mean, a lot of times we see him pick up the phase boots, but either way, he will be able to get tons of farm, and he loves that Midas himself. So I honestly kind of expect that to come on through. We do see EGM putting some pressure on mid, but I feel unless they make a kill within the next 30 seconds, that is kind of unwarranted. They need to actually put some more action down on bottom, but they're changing their strategy entirely. Tamo Wild is still perfectly...
Tamo Wild.
Yeah, telekinesis will come on through, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough damage. Like, the S4 just doesn't have the attack range. He has a bit of a... I mean, he's even on movement speed, so it really doesn't make too much of a difference whatsoever. EGM being only level 1, it's just going to be a little bit of harassment, but he needs to actually make motion, either on top lane or bot lane. On bot, they could try to go for the combo, telekinesing into cogs, and that way setting up a fully charged Illuminate, but there's not seeing that happening, and as a result, they're just making sure that KSI doesn't have a potential to go up top, but he's fine with that. Moving on in the jungle, he'll just farm away with a Basilius up, and moving in for a Midas of his own.
And we're going to trap out Bulldog again.
This is big.
Virtus Pro.
He does get the regen.
I think, yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's too much damage. They bring down KSI, and as soon as they do, they are going to be able to bring him down.
Ouch! 3-1. And the good news is NS still, S4 still very solid in the middle. Loda still very solid on the top. Alliance, you saw Loda talk about it yesterday in his interview with you, that, like, you know, sometimes we're going to pick lineups that are going to have trouble in the lane, and we have to just deal with that. KSI copping a few hits from S4 there. Sometimes we're just going to lose the lane, and that's okay. We have to play our game, advance our strategy, and just look to come back later. And so, don't write off Alliance just because this early game is going VP's way. If the early game didn't go VP's way, it would be a freaking disaster.
Yeah, that's very true, honestly, because that's just going to be very, very difficult for them. If they can't get kills on Night Stalker more and more, then they're going to be in an awkward position. Fortunately, though, Night Stalker's not too shabby. Around this time, it's heading in towards night, but he's almost level 6 himself. He's in a position where, despite not having a solo lane, he's keeping not on par with what a Night Stalker would have on the solo, but he is just shy of that, and he's perfectly fine to just continue to steamroll very, very aggressively.
Yeah, let's keep in mind, he was at 4 last hits 2 minutes ago, and now he's at 18. Or sorry, no, he's gotten 18 since then.
Yeah.
The fact that they gave up on this aggressive try, I mean, Alliance thought that they had the aggressive try, and then you saw Ake rotate up, and EGM spent a little bit of time in the mid and then rotated up as well. You do see them stacking camps now, so much more of the classic No Tidehunter tri lane, right?
Yeah.
And this is good for Keeper of the Light because he can clear this out, get a little XP. They struggled to get XP in that aggressive try. You can see that with the level 2 EGM, level 3 Ake, and level 3 Bulldog. But now Bulldog's in more of that classic 1v3 role, which opens up space for Illidan to get that farm on Night Stalker.
So now it's nighttime. They do have 2 points in Hunt of the Night. He is going to have his phase boots and maybe like having a good handful of last hits still. But still, having Urn active already, his first kill is going to open up many windows of opportunity. With that offensive Urn to come on out, going to be a great spot. He's actually moving up towards Treads instead of Phase, but still, with that max Hunt of the Night soon to be, he will be able to close the distance very, very easily, and from there, they just have to get the nukes off. Zeus, with his soon-to-be maxed out W spell, that is actually Lightning Bolt. Dude, I don't know Zeus. How am I supposed to cast Zeus? So, anyways, Lightning Bolt is going to be maxed shortly, and along with that, the Void, and they just have so much nuke damage up front, and even heroes like TA, who can generally survive extremely effectively, are going to have a rough time. Haste Rune nullifies that, of course, but...
I'll tell you how to cast Zeus Blaze. Everything is called Lightning. Just
there
Lightning Bolt, Lightning Arc, Lightning Field, and globalish Lightning Thing, and that's all you need to know. Loda, by the way, he's actually already hit the armlet. Before boots, so goodness gracious, a barefoot lifestealer here. This is very, very unusual, but he's just that stand and deliver a ton of damage. I think he's definitely going to go boots next, but rare that we see armlet before boots, but it does give him that burst of survivability. If he gets global ganked, it's more important for him to have that survivability than it is to have the movement speed. And you can see Illidan's up here, and his extra movement speed hasn't really helped him. They don't catch out Loda. Very smart, conservative play. Loda, a player sometimes criticized for sort of going, too ham. And what we've seen in the last few days is, he can play that very conservative style.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate that Virtus.pro didn't make this happen. I mean, this is nighttime. They smoked all the way from the bottom lane, ran on through, walked over the Observer, but were invisible from it. And they had a whole reason to find an opportunity to get a kill, swooping on through this back area here. Unfortunately, there was a creep pull, which means the creep wave was a little bit mistimed, and as such, they walked right on into it, and that gave them the alert that they needed to be able to fall to a safe place.
Yeah, I mean, very good for Alliance. Good defensive play. They managed to avoid... Good vision, definitely. And you see NS, he's actually spent a little bit of time just getting levels and farm down here. So that's an interesting... They're not doing all-in sort of global ganking S4 with the Haste Rune, but I don't think he'll catch him.
Honestly, he could have gone for it, in my opinion, but of course, retaliating TPs are a little bit more scary.
Yeah, what if you're so far past the creep line, in fact, there's no way for the creep line to come down here, you're going to just have Gyrocopter poured over.
I suppose so. Well, I guess so. The big thing is he has a Tango for Sprout and an Invis Rune, so as soon as he gets out of tower range, he's pretty much in the clear.
Yeah, I agree, but if you don't get the kill and you just waste your time, I don't think he would have gotten the kill, is the thing. Maybe he wouldn't have died. So Alliance, they're down 3-1.
Go down Bulldog, actually get the silence out. He won't be able to cogs. KSI, I really don't think he needs to rotate this much. He could just let them go at it 3 versus 1 and get an easy kill, but now they can at least transition this into a push as soon as they get 160 mana, which, of course, without a Keeper of Light, is going to be some time.
Right. No, I mean, VP, they're still getting their game going, and the only thing is the more time they spend as 4 trying to get these things set up, the closer their window to actually win has to be. Because that lets up the pressure on the people that are farming, i.e. Loda and S4. And their farm is no joke. I mean, both above 350 gold per minute, Loda closing in on 400, and the top for VP is just Illidan, who doesn't have that much. So the more they sort of rotate... Oh, they didn't get it on S4 either. Again, Alliance playing very canny, very smart.
You need to. In this situation, the Wrath of Nature nuke across the entire map, along with the Roman gank squad of 3 people swooping on about with such great movement speed advantages, and the fact that they have the KSI able to teleport pretty much wherever he wants to. They don't know his teleport's only level 1, and as such always have to be afraid of when he's going to be able to jump on in. Actually, Courier could be in a bad spot considering his haste is about to expire, but Illidan's not going to find it out. Either way, they really have to play as defensively as possible, and as long as they hold the line, as long as they're safe enough until they can start team fighting as 5, I think they're actually going to be able to do pretty well in the mid game.
VP, I still think NS is sort of signaling a little bit of a transition into... That's the thing, VP are no slouches in the late game. Oh, NS, trouble.
Coming up on top, there is big damage coming out, and with the telekinesis, he certainly will fall. Tried to get a little bit of slowing and damage coming out with the call down, but no, just the open wounds, easy pickoff for those two individuals.
Illidan almost dropped in the mid, too. Illidan very, very, very low.
Yeah, very difficult. Were they diving aggressively, or they just took a couple melt strikes and illuminates?
They, no, I mean, they tried to fight out S4, and they just didn't have the tools. Ake was there. I mean, they saw 2 top, and they were like, oh, we should be able to win this, but they're not. I mean, Loda is big. That's the whole thing with the armlet. He was able to deal incredible damage to NS there. I actually think that was a little bit of overconfidence from NS, thinking that he could safely farm in a lane with a pretty big lifestealer and a Rubik, and so that takes Loda and S4 to level 9. Again, I don't think VP's window is closing, per se, but the fact that they're behind on XP substantially on these core heroes should worry them a little bit.
So, in this position here, Illidan is coming up towards top. They want to put pressure onto Loda. If they get the Crippling Fear, he won't be able to Rage or Infest, but will the damage be there because he has an Armlet, and that is just such a big nuke. Wrath of Nature does come on through. KSI is here, going to try to sprout him on in. He doesn't have a Quelling. Armlet toggle, beautiful. Iron Herald Dolog coming in with the hook on KSI, doing so much damage here. They get the Infest off, and KSI will fall. EGM, Armored Car trying to run for the hills, but he does get nuked down. There goes the Infest. They just both walk away. Oh my goodness, the body block from Admiral Bulldog is perfect, and they all get on out. Alliance playing out of their minds right there. Everyone should have died, and everyone walks away still alive. Illidan wants to clean up one. Void will not come out on Ake, and they all survive out of pretty much the most... I don't even know right now. That was the... Oh, wow. I'm speechless. I am. Like, that was impending doom over and over and over again, and they're like, fuck it, Admiral Bulldog come on in. Perfect timing from everyone there, and really, really smooth play.
No, they wasted the Thunder God's Wrath on the mid-fight with S4. Right?
Yeah.
And so if they had Thunder God's Wrath, they'd probably kill 2 at least. Probably Bulldog 2. But because they didn't... I was going to compliment them that they were being tidily with the Thunder God's Wrath and waiting until the perfect moment, and they end up not having it at the exact moment that they needed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And shoutouts for Admiral Bulldog right there. The hook, perfect.
Yeah.
The cogs, perfect. The body block on Night Stalker as he tries to chase down 2 fleeing low HP heroes. If there was a word above perfect, I mean, like, just amazing. Amazing play.
Yeah.
And he just dies to Eggum right there. So
yeah, just finding another kill. Illidan is making up for lost time. There's the Wrath of Nature, but here is the telekinesis. Not going to be enough to keep them alive, so they do end up losing too, but they make him waste darkness, and if one more right click comes out from Loda, it could be all worthless. They get the rocket. So he just wasted a ton of nighttime, and on mid lane, S4 dives it out and brings down the Zeus as well. So just an easy pickoff. Physical damage with that refraction up is just something he cannot contest directly. So Zeus gets caught out 1v1, and Nightstalker uses up Darkness that he's skilled at level 8 and completely wastes it. So now it's Daybreak, and he's out of that ultimate for 150 seconds.
He earned too late, I think. It was a really tough guess because you do have to cast it, so... He was running the risk of taking another hit from Loda, but another 2 seconds of earn would have maybe kept him alive through the rockets. It's really hard to judge. That's a sort of impossible decision that we can sort of say in hindsight, but wow, VP, they've kind of hit a brick wall right now. They're behind on levels. S4 and Loda have gotten very tanky, and these are the people that's hard to kill with this global strat. KSI killed 2 with Wrath of Nature there, so he's getting good development on this Nature's Prophet. But the problem right now is Illidan. He's only level 8. The day is over. I mean, the night is over. He didn't have that productive of a night phase. And so Alliance, just with this fantastic execution, are holding this off. And considering this was VP's overall game plan for the entire series, they've got to be a little worried.
Yeah, there was one big missed opportunity. They needed night 1 to have a huge advantage for them. And now it's daytime, and they're even, 6-6. And it was all about that action on top lane. The kills that they could have had, at least 2 of them, and did not get a single. It's not their fault. It was Alliance playing amazingly. S4 won't be able to bring in KSI, but the hook from Admiral Bulldog will be sufficient. Now going to cogs on in underneath the trap. Will they get the damage out? He tries to Wrath of Nature, or sorry, Wrath of Thunder God's Wrath, but will not happen, and instead they both walk away from the tower, getting out very, very easily. Now we do see big damage from EGM, so NS will bring him down, but with this Nightmare, the right clicks, they are going to be able to, Loda answering back, bringing out EGM, looking for more on top of Arzar. The open wounds won't be available though, but they have reinforcements. Here's Admiral, here's S4, big blink, double damage strike coming out of S4, and he wants more. Traps down to the south. Here is KMW, finally gets that Wrath off to bring down Bulldog, but now they reveal everyone, and it could be a full team wipe +1 for the buyback. There is big damage coming on out, and okay, don't die to the tower, man. There we go. Good switch up. Switching the tower aggro, and S4 tanks it for just a little longer. Wow, they just cleaned up the entire team, plus a buyback on the Zeus. Just amazing right now from Alliance. 12 to 8. 15 minutes in.
I can't knock the I can't knock the strategy coming out from VP, but the execution from Alliance has been so good.
It's overwhelming.
And that last fight, I mean, TA with the DD rune, you cannot overestimate it. You can give it the maximum estimation, and you still underestimated how good it is. He did so much damage. He was able to chase everybody around the entire map. People started coming in and just dying and dying. And again, Illidan at nighttime, this is an aggressive strategy. They want to be chasing Alliance around the map, and during the daytime they cannot do that, because Night Stalker cannot do that in the day. And Alliance taking advantage of that, the good chase coming out, a full cleanup of VP, and the levels are going to become even more of an issue. We still don't have level 2 ultimate for Tame My Wild. He will have the cooldown up in about 18 seconds, but... Oh no! EGM just stole it.
He stole Thunder God's Wrath. Wow. You should really be arc lightning something, man. That is big. I mean, that's the whole point of picking Zeus right here. And if Team W just hands that ultimate away, that is going to be very, very painful to deal with. And Rubik also ranking his Nullfield means Zeus is going to be that much less effective when it comes down to those engagements. So Thunder Gods versus Thunder Gods, Alliances is going to be better.
Yeah, the Nullfield, by the way. Yeah, thank you for bringing up the Nullfield. He's leveling it.
Oh, hookshot on bottom. Hold that thought. Bulldog wants some action here, and with the Thunder God's Wrath to back it up, NS falls immediately. Can they bring down Bulldog? Illidan doesn't get the chance, and the lightning isn't going to be enough either. There is going to be the Bane ulti, though. Fiend's gripping on Loda, and it looks like he will fall, because that cripple is just going to make sure he cannot dodge on out of there. Either way, they get Bulldog out, but they lose Loda. So in that sense, it was an unfortunate trade.
Yeah, the Loda went in too far there. I mean, the hook, it's hard to justify not going in on that hook, but he did go a little too far. He got the Fiend's Grip punishment. Good play from Arsart, but meanwhile, this top S4 is just pushing in the top lane much harder than they're actually pushing in the bottom lane.
Yeah, really, really quickly. KSI has to rotate on through. Not too much trouble since his teleport has finally been ranked up to max, but it's taking its toll and doing a lot of damage to the Tier 1 and subsequently the Tier 2. Really, S4 is controlling the map a lot better, and once the lanes start getting pushed in, if Virtus Pro is fighting creeps instead of heroes, they're going to be losing every minute of the game. Unfortunately, they don't have much of a choice right now. With Darkness being used to make that gank effective, it actually means that until Natural Night comes in just a couple minutes, that he is just the Daywalker.
Right. And even when the night comes, Blaze, the fact is, he's the 6th highest level person in the game. The people he needs to gank are Loda and S4, and even at nighttime, I can't imagine a level 9 Night Stalker actually bringing down a level 14 Templar Assassin. It's not something that happens. He will need the support of the other players, and so they'll need to have a more coordinated ganking force, which is what they've been trying to do, but so far Alliance has just been running them off the map. Now, we do have the level 2 ultimate for Tame My Wild. It's still level 1 ultimate for EGM, but he does have it for at least 30-ish more seconds. So if another fight breaks out, we will see the ultimate, the Thunder God's Wrath, come out from both Rubik and Zeus. And when you consider the fact that EGM is almost at maximum Nullfield because he only took 1 rank in Telekinesis, his ultimate will do, I haven't done the math, but almost as much damage. He just pops it off so he can steal something else, by the way. And for vision.
And good vision, yeah. Like, I mean, as far as smoke, that did reveal them temporarily, so now Loda knows exactly how much trouble he's in, and he should be able to TP on out of here safely. So that 100%, just like he would have died, that smoke, the fact that they have Fiend's Grip available, there's no way Loda would have survived on out of that. But quick little ulti usage, throwing it back the other direction. Actually, yeah, not too much to follow up, so literally it's just for vision, just for damage. But now that's expired, going on in. S4 popping off that meld with the Desolator up, and look at this Roche drop. He's sitting at, what, -9 armor? Just penetrating on through that. They'll trade a Tier 1 for this easily, and they will pick up an Aegis on Loda. They're going to be so darn strong for their next fight.
Not on S4?
I don't know. I mean, both of them are extremely powerful, but obviously proving that that's what their intentions are there. I don't know. I think that right now Virtus Pro is more prioritized on bringing down the Lifestealer earlier in the fight, because they do have the Fiend's Grip and they do have the way it means to lock him down. But yeah, S4 is a great carrier. He still does a shit ton of damage, and it's going to add up quickly now that he has that second life.
I just want to say that brings it to, I think, 2 or 3 me and 2 you on the scoreboard for calling that Aegis half a second. Oh man, S4 is in. Wow, this is a little bold, actually, but he does have this Blink Dagger. And you can see the amount of damage he dealt to Arsart. Arsart, luckily, his health pool is so low that on the one hand, TA does a lot of damage. On the other hand, a Magic Stick activation brings him back up mostly.
So in this position here, Infest inside Bulldog, he can get an easy hook, point blank, right onto Illidan. There is that Infest, and he is caught out. Nothing to do here. Gets crippling on Bulldog, and that's all he can contribute. Now we do see S4 picking up a wicked 6 free, bringing down Bane in the base. That physical damage is just out of this world, and now taking up the tier 2 tower, they're going to bring this down as well. Meanwhile, in top lane, KSI is doing something to the tier 2 tower, but it certainly isn't killing it because they've already taken the mid, and they're TPing right back on up top. So KSI doesn't have much to work with here. The Blinding Light won't unfortunately break this TP, so okay, just throwing it out because he can. Either way, in the mid lane, the pressure still comes out. S4 jumping on TMW. This Zeus dropping so quickly, turning around. No, this refraction keeps S4 kicking, and certainly that's exactly what's happening. Bane does get that Fiend's Grip off, but the burst damage, all the cogs doing so much damage in a Godsplit 3 for S4. He still has this Aegis. He wants more. Going on in, Gyrocopter. What the hell are you doing there? Gets picked up by the telekinesis, and good game is called. My, oh my, what a slaughter. Just a huge slugfest. Alliance coming out, bringing their A game in this mid game, and my, oh my, is it just devastating to see.
I'm a little flabbergasted, Blaze. I mean, strategically speaking, the Templar Assassin was a very good response. Loda, really? Probably intentional, I feel like. He dies to the tower damage.
Nice.
But I feel like the TA, maybe they weren't super ready for. I don't know that their lineup was that good against Templar Assassin, just because, yeah, like, Refraction will eat so much of what they put out. And then their objective was pinch Alliance so hard everywhere except Loda that Loda, it doesn't matter how much farm Loda gets, and we'll shift to Loda once we win the rest. But they didn't win the rest quite as much as they wanted. Loda farmed very quickly, and by the time they shifted to Loda, Alliance were able to respond. That's where it all fell apart for VP. They had a good start, and then in that transition to let's kill the Lifestealer, at least 2 attempts. The first one just fell flat, nothing happened, but they didn't kill Loda. The second one fell worse than flat. They actually convincingly lost that fight. And from there on in, Alliance were like, hey, there's a moment of weakness here. We've identified that they don't quite have what it takes to kill us just now. And from there on in, Alliance they just snapped into action. S4 ending up with just dominating, really chasing out a VP's very not tanky heroes that can die easily. And we gotta say, Bulldog with some incredible hook play, great cog positioning, just really mispositioning Virtus.pro's heroes there. The steal on Thunder God's Wrath was no small thing either. That was a little bit of a mistake by Tame My Wild not following it up with any other spells.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. And it's just like the Rubik played amazingly. He got some great steals off. He used it very effectively. The Loda found his farm, and then S4 was able to run rampant. I mean, the TA pick versus Zeus, that was a no-brainer in my opinion as far as who was going to take that down. And he started making use of that blink very early on. So big damage output, great initiations, Bulldog hitting, he hit every hook he set out to hit. I mean, some of them were relatively easy, but either way, he was in the action. He had the mechanism. He had the Nakes bombs. They coordinated it. And when it comes down to that team fight that we were just astonished over up on that top lane, they outplayed them, honestly. Just 100%. The individual skill in those key moments when the tension is at its highest, when just the exhilarating feeling of those team fights, they really just pulled it out and had an amazing, amazing game. So, well played to Alliance. They tried a secret strat, they tried a trick pulling it out of their bag, but now Virtus.pro gets shut down. How do they respond? How do they move into game 2, do you think?
Yes, this is the interesting question for me, because they brought this strategy to the series. They were like, we're just going to play aggressively and have this surprise, and we'll take Alliance there. The question is now, how do you react? Do you say, well, we think the strategy was sound, we just have to execute better and go just as aggressive? Or do we see them falling back into much more standard play in the second game? And I honestly don't know the answer. I would like to see them try to just tighten it up a bit and make sure that Alliance can't just respond with a 4th and 5th pick that render it more or less irrelevant. I mean, once the Lifestealer was on the field, it's almost like, will this really work out as well as we want it to? But nonetheless, I mean, really good performance. VP, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's go into game 2, because I don't want to pontificate about it. Let's just find
Honestly,
out.
yeah, they have to do the talking on the battlefield here, and we'll have to see exactly what they have in store for us. Going on into Game 2, already got the lobby hosted on up, and we'll have that coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in, guys.